KGW News, video of a hit and run that sent a vehicle careening off the interstate. Why investigators want you to take a closer look. Plus,
we're actually maybe having a Zoran Mamdani effect right in Washington County.
Socialist-backed candidates on the local ballot. The key races in the Portland metro that are still too close to call. Then, a KGW investigation into a rare disease gets results for one veteran.
Look at me, live my life for a day.
As they now try to convince the experts it's all tied to their service.
Veterans shouldn't have to go to these lengths to receive approval.
And later, where the fire fell short without its hometown crowd to cheer them on.
If we get this one, we'll learn what we need to learn from this and move on to Toronto.
But first to breaking news in downtown Salem, where police say a teenager has been shot and injured. This is around High Street Southeast, just before 6:30. That's several blocks west of the state capitol and Willamette University. Within the last hour, we learned the victim is a 17-year-old boy. Authorities telling us the suspect ran away, with local and state police plus the sheriff's office using drones and canines over the course of this evening to search the area. At this hour, it's unclear if they have made any arrests. The teenager was taken to the hospital. No word on his condition. New tonight, new video from the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office shows the moment a semi apparently cut off and clipped a water truck. Wow, sitting and barreling off I-84, rolling into the woods. That semi, deputies say, never even slowed down. We want to let you know everyone here is okay. This was Monday in the gorge near Dalton Point. The semi changes lanes, hits the truck, sending about 100 feet off the freeway. The two people inside were not seriously hurt. Investigators are hoping someone recognizes that semi. It's either blue or purple, and that tips there will lead to an arrest. Well, let's talk about the Oregon primary now, with the stage set for a rematch in November between Governor Tina Kotek and State Senator Christine Drazan in the race for the state's top job. Now, if Drazan is the big winner from Tuesday night, then the big loser is tax increases, many of which fell flat, to say the least. And tonight, some 24 hours in, some races, including two in Washington County, remain too close to call. Not taxes, but candidates. First, State Senate District 15, Democratic incumbent Janine Solomon trying to fend off a challenge from her left by Myrna Munoz. Munoz taking the lead there this evening. And it's even closer in House District 27. Tammy Carpenter, who serves on the Beaverton School Board, leading the Democratic primary by 149 votes. She's up against Beaverton City Councilor Ashley Hartmeyer-Prigg as both try to capture that open seat. Let's bring in Alma McCarty in the newsroom with a closer look at the candidates there. Alma?
David, these have flipped within the last 24 hours. You may have been monitoring that, with the more left-leaning challengers, either Democratic Socialists or backed by them, seeing the greatest benefit from those late arriving ballots. Tonight, I checked in with one of our election night panelists to get her read on these races that remain too close to call.
Washington County is fascinating because it's such a diverse county. It wasn't that way when I was growing up there 35 years ago.
And Ciara Pressler, an entrepreneur who lives in Northeast Portland and typically votes Democrat, says that mix, a large immigrant population, folks from all over the world, and people who have been there for years, is fueling a shift when it comes to the Democratic primary.
And it can go, more center, but we're seeing it lean really left. We're actually maybe having a Zoran Mamdani effect right in Washington County.
A reference to New York City's socialist mayor, and two races perhaps exemplifying just that. First, District 15's state Senate race, which covers parts of Hillsborough, Forest Grove, and Cornelius. Senator Janine Solomon is going for her second term with the backing of Democratic leadership across the state, with opponent Myrna Munoz backed by labor unions and educators. She's also been a vocal critic of data centers.
Oregonians value the environment, and we really want to protect what we have, and we all know that data centers are a huge suck on our environment. Yet all of us are using a lot of data every day. And so whether that will be a step forward in our economy, having data centers here in Oregon, or whether we're going to say, no, we will protect the environment at all costs, that's a huge conversation right now.
Solomon writing, whether you voted for me or not, you participated in the most important act in a democracy. And that matters more than ever right now. And Munoz, no matter the final outcome, this campaign has already shown the power of ordinary people organizing for change. A smaller, even tighter race as of Wednesday night, State House District 27, covering parts of Beaverton. Democratic Socialist Tammy Carpenter had a slight lead over Beaverton City Councilor Ashley Hartmeyer-Prigg, who broadly speaking has the backing of the business community.
Next update from Washington County, sometime tomorrow. The election results have to be certified by June 15th. David?
It's always fun for watching these come in, maybe fun for us. Not so much for the candidates, though, I imagine. Thanks, Alma. All right, we talked about taxes losing in Clackamas County. The failure of a 5-year sheriff's levy could mean that more than 60 deputies, along with jail beds, detectives, and the county's drug enforcement team could all face cuts. We talked with those who work in the justice system and a man released from the county jail today.
I guess that worries me. We also are at the jail all the time. Our clients are living in there. So if there are fewer deputies taking care of them, that's never a good thing for us.
The jail would probably function a lot worse if they lose a lot of deputies, you know what I mean? Because it's going to take longer for to get done.
I was going to say this was a renewal, but it was also a 45% increase. The Clackamas County Sheriff's calling the election results disappointing. It's now up to the Board of Commissioners to sort out the budget or to potentially try this again in November. You know what? Statewide leaders are trying to figure out their next moves after an avalanche of voters rejected Measure 120. That was the proposed gas tax increase to help fund transportation. It seems no one wanted any part of it. The governor's office has a work group on how to move forward already had its first meeting. For the latest numbers and all the other local races, including Oregon Senate and congressional primaries, check out our election results page for you now at KGW.com. Well, let's switch to a live look over the Rose City on this Wednesday night. A little fresh air on another showstopper of a sunny day. And Matt, a lot of folks are already gearing up for the weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good weekend too, at least the beginning of it. I'd say about 2/3 of it will be really great. And tonight we had an amazing sunset. I don't know if you caught this or not at home, but some really great color. We'll finish that off for you a little bit later on. Portland right now sitting at 61 degrees with a clear sky. It's a really nice night. And you know what? When we wake up in the morning, we should still have a clear sky. Unlike this morning when we had the low clouds, and that put a lid on the temperatures. We topped out at 70 in Portland, about average for this time of the year, so we really can't complain about that. But had those clouds burned off sooner, we would have been about 4, maybe 5 degrees warmer than we were. Now, down in Southern Oregon, we have 81 in Medford, 78 in Brookings. That warmth will be spreading northward during the day tomorrow, and so we will expect to see temperatures in the 80s in the valleys beginning tomorrow. And then as we go into the Memorial Day weekend, looks great Saturday and Sunday. Monday is a different story. We'll let you know how long that rain will last, David.
Oh, raindrops somewhere out there. Okay, thanks, Matt. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, the Oregon man accused of helping kill his friend's wife in what's been described as a murder-for-hire plot has pleaded guilty to murder charges. According to court documents, 57-year-old Daryl Riley broke into Lindy Rummel's Brush Prairie home in 2024, shot her 5 times, and then staged the scene to look like a robbery. Investigators say Rummel's husband brought Riley, the alleged hitman, from Eugene to Clark County just hours before the shooting. They say the two met in prison. Riley is set to be sentenced in August. Portland teachers have reached a tentative agreement on a new contract, one that would give them a much smaller pay increase than we have seen in the past. The agreement would give teachers a 2% cost of living increase, though it wouldn't take effect until January. This comes as Oregon's biggest district faces a $56 million deficit, and that doesn't count future school years. Teachers still have to vote to ratify the deal, and the school board must sign off. And hundreds of thousands of people insured under Providence health plans in Oregon may be forced to find new providers starting next year. That's because the largest health system in the state says it is getting out of most insurance coverage, citing costs and regulatory pressures. More than 400,000 people in Oregon, about 13,000 in Washington, are covered by the Providence health plan. Right now, Providence is working to keep Medicare Advantage members covered and says it plans to help individuals and employers figure out alternatives. We're following up tonight on a KGW investigation into military veterans denied their benefits for a rare and incurable disease. After our reporting helped convince the VA to reverse course in at least one case, veterans say they are now pushing to bring even more attention and to convince the experts that it is all connected to their time in service. Investigative reporter Kyle Boshi has our update.
Look at what IBM has done. This is the reality that has devastated Greg and our entire family.
Lori Rathburn had just 5 minutes. 5 minutes of testimony to describe more than a decade of disappointment, fighting a government that repeatedly told her husband his rare muscle disease had nothing to do with his military service.
Try to imagine changing places with Greg and then being told by the VA that your disability does not exist and you are not worthy of disability benefits.
The Rathburns, along with several other veterans suffering from inclusion body myositis, or IBM,
you can see my hands don't do much anymore,
were invited to share their stories with the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine. The VA asked this panel of scientists to examine the link between military service and certain diseases, including IBM.
I fully, wholeheartedly believe that his exposures during the military service is what caused this disease.
In our investigative documentary, Diagnosis Denied, we found veterans across the country diagnosed with IBM who'd been denied disability benefits by the VA. Advocates believe the number of veterans diagnosed with IBM may be anywhere from 6 to 19 times higher than the general population.
Look at me. Live my life for a day. God wish this on anybody.
For years, Greg Rathburn applied for service-connected disability, convinced that toxic chemicals he was exposed to as an avionics technician triggered the disease. But the VA denied those claims every time. Until last month, when the VA went back for another look. According to VA documents, the agency acted quickly due to the high-profile nature of the claim and related news coverage to inform Greg he'd been granted full benefits once and for all.
This was amazing news for us, but not every veteran has the opportunity for intense media coverage. Veterans shouldn't have to go to these links to receive approval.
These veterans and their families hope this panel will establish the link between military service and IBM, clearing the path for veterans to automatically get the benefits they deserve before more time runs out.
Kyle Boshi reporting there. Our reporting was part of a broader nationwide project called Diagnosis Denied. It's a new documentary about the fight for answers, benefits, and validation from those who served. It's streaming right now for you only on KGW+.